Hi guys, welcome to another video where I expose things about my business that I probably shouldn't be exposing. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you all about my Instagram strategy for 2023 because your girl is making some changes. Now, I like to switch up my strategy maybe like twice a year. I like to leave a good chunk of time before I make any major changes just because I want to make sure I've got enough data and I've had enough time to really make some key learnings on what I was doing previously. So the time has come for me to make some changes and I'm going to be telling you all about those changes in just a moment. Before we get into it though, I did want to let you know that this video is sponsored by HubSpot, which is very exciting. I'll be telling you more about HubSpot a little bit later on in the video, so let's get to it. Okay, so really quick note, if you like content like this, please hit subscribe, turn on your notifications because I upload new videos every single week. So let's get started with my strategy for 2023. Now, as with most good strategies, you really want to start with your objective, and your objective is just basically like marketing speak for your goals. What are you trying to achieve with your Instagram channel for the following year? Now, for me, the answer to that question is I want to use my Instagram channel to build deeper connections with my audience. Now, it's important that you figure out what your objective is because, spoiler alert, it is probably going to be different to mine. For example, if you run a business, you might say, okay, well, my objective for my Instagram channel next year is to use my Instagram to drive more sales for my business. Or another route of this might be that you want to focus on building a community. Or maybe your objective is that you want to grow your influence, right? So it's more about growth. All of those objectives require different strategies. So just keep that in mind as I take you through the overview of what my strategy is going to be. It's also worth noting that your objective for your Instagram channel might be different depending on how many platforms you're on. So like how many other social media sites you're on. For example, I create content across quite a lot of different social media channels at the moment. So I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, obviously, Pinterest, and I have a podcast. And I know that's not technically a social media site, but it is another platform that I create content on. And each of those channels have their own roles just based on the content that I share, based on the strategies that I have in place, etc. So for example, Pinterest and TikTok are the channels that I use to drive awareness of me and my brand. Like I use those channels to grow my audience because those channels are really great at growth. However, those channels, for me at least, do not help me build a connection with my community. It's quite difficult for me to communicate with people across those two channels, whereas a platform like Instagram, again, for me, it's far easier to do that. Like I have conversations with my community in my DMs. Like I find it so much easier to achieve that objective of building a deeper connection with my audience on a platform like Instagram. So there's quite a few things for you to keep in mind when you are figuring out what your objective is for your Instagram channel, but hopefully I've given you a few pointers there so you can use those moving forward. Now, with that objective in mind, my strategy is basically going to be the guiding light that's going to help me achieve my objective. So whilst my objective is clearly stating what I'm trying to achieve, my strategy is going to be how I'm going to get there. So for me, how I'm going to build a deeper connection with my audience is by facilitating more conversations. That is the crux of what I will be doing on Instagram for at least the first 3 to 6 months of 2023. I want to be facilitating conversations and I want to be communicating with my audience using Instagram as a tool. Now, with that in mind, I do want to take some time just to tell you about HubSpot, but specifically a very useful free resource that I've been using to help develop my strategy. Now, as I mentioned, engaging with my community is one of my top priorities for 2023, and HubSpot have developed a guide that's really going to help me do that, but it will also help you guys achieve that too. The guide is called 20 Powerful Strategies and Hacks for Increasing Your Instagram Engagement, and the best part is it is completely free. Yay! Cue some confetti. Yay! So, this Instagram engagement guide is going to help you achieve a few things. For example, it will help you get more likes on your post, gain more followers, discover Instagram's lesser known features, and leverage Instagram's native tools like stories, lives, and more. The guide will also break down 20 powerful hacks which will allow you to leverage Instagram to its full potential. Now, my personal favorite section is hack number 12, which is called Do It Live. It basically provides you with the tactics that you need to use and leverage Instagram's live feature during virtual events. This is going going to be a key part of my strategy in 2023. And if you are focused on Instagram engagement like I am, then you need to pay close attention to that section too. Since you're watching this video, I'm sure you understand the importance of researching Instagram before making a plan of action. This guide is a must read for anyone developing their strategy for 2023. Of course, the link to download the free guide is below in the description box. All right, shall we move on and talk about some of the tactics that I'm going to use to help me meet my objective and fulfill my strategy? So the first one is probably going to be the most shocking to everyone out there, so I'm just going to need you to hear me out. When it comes to the frequency of my posts on Instagram, they will be decreasing. They've actually decreased a little bit already. Oh God, this feels so weird to talk about. Basically, I used to share content on Instagram 5 times a week. It used to be Monday to Friday. It was purposely on Monday to Friday because I know that most people don't want to hear me lecture on about business, entrepreneurship, marketing, whatever on like a Saturday and a Sunday, right? So that used to be my strategy. Now, recently, I have been trialing a slightly different frequency, which has been 3 to 5 times per week. Now, I'm going to continue with that frequency well into 2023. Now, the reason why I'm going to be decreasing my frequency rather than upping it is mostly because of my objective. You'll remember that my objective for my Instagram channel next year is to build a deeper connection with my audience. My objective is not to grow. That's not what I'm trying to do on Instagram. If that happens, great. That's not my objective. My objective is to communicate with you guys, right? So if that's the case, I need to look at how much time I have available and my team have available to run my Instagram channel. And when I look at that and divvy up the tasks that we're going to be focusing on, what takes priority is my DM management, my responding to my comments, doing other things like lives. That actually takes priority in order for me to meet that objective versus me posting loads per week. Also, and this is very important to note, I can actually afford to reduce my frequency ever so slightly because of all the other content that I'm sharing across multiple other social media channels and the fact that I'm always cross-promoting my Instagram channel on those other channels. So I can afford to drop my frequency ever so slightly and still grow at an okay rate because I have other channels that I'm using to grow my audience, and those channels will help me grow my Instagram channel. Does that make sense? So I just felt like I needed to really explain that because I don't want anyone to watch this and think, oh my God, I'm gonna post less too, because if you're trying to grow, posting less isn't going to help you. In fact, it's going to do the opposite. So I think I've alluded to this already, but another tactic that I'm going to be trying to implement next year will be fairly regular lives. Now, when I say fairly regular, I'm talking like maybe once a month, so really not that regular, but I very rarely go live on Instagram. Now, the reason why I haven't done that previously is honestly just because it wasn't part of my strategy, so therefore it just didn't get the time. I didn't get my time, unfortunately. But if we think about my objective again for this year, like I want to be communicating with my audience more, and lives is one of the best features you can use to do that. In fact, it is the only feature you can use on Instagram which actually allows you to speak with your audience in real time. Even your direct messages don't allow you to do that because someone will DM you and then you will eventually respond. It might take you a couple of hours. That's not real time, right? Now, when you go live, people can literally say something to you and you can respond seconds later. That is the only way that you can really create this communication and this conversation with your audience as it happens. So therefore, I do want to go live on my Instagram more than I definitely have been. Now, the purpose of these lives and the content that I'll be sharing will be quite specific. So I want to go live whenever I feel like I've got something broad to talk about in relation to becoming a content creator. They won't necessarily be lives where I'll be teaching you how to do stuff. Like that is what my content is for. That is what my programs are for. Instead, I'll be going live when I've experienced something like a mindset shift, or I've discovered something of significant value that I want to discuss with people. Like it's going to be a conversation. I'll be going live because I want to be hearing your thoughts on a topic versus me just kind of like spouting loads of information out to you. So I'm really looking forward to doing that because, as you can probably tell from my content, I like to chat. So going live, that excites me. There's like, I was gonna say there's no rules, there's definitely rules, but it feels quite a bit uninhibited. I was gonna say uninhibited. That's not the right word. I don't know. It just feels like it will be quite freeing. But you know, watch your space and let's see how that goes. Okay, final tactic I'm going to talk about here, which forms a core part of my strategy, is all to do with the format of the content that I'll be sharing on Instagram. So I will be predominantly sharing reels, which is something that I've been doing for a little while now, and I've decided that that is definitely the way that I would like to continue. The reason why is because I know that my audience respond best to my reel content. Now, there's a key thing that I've just said there that I want you to carry through with you if you are developing your strategy for 2023. And that key thing is that I've spoken about my audience first. So when I've decided which format I'm going to share, I've thought to myself, which format does my audience respond to? And I know that it's reels, and I also do enjoy creating reels. I've got a really great process with my team where creating reels feels quite fun. So therefore, reels is going to be one of my core formats. I will, however, still share photos on occasion. When I share photos, they will be milestone photos. So if I have a cool photo from a talk that I've done recently, I'm going to share it. If I've gone on holiday or I just got married, which I will be getting married next year. My God, that's a bit scary. All that kind of stuff. Like, I'm going to be sharing milestone photos with my audience because, again, I know that my audience like those. Whilst they don't necessarily respond to photo content all the time and any kind of photo content, I do know that you guys respond to my milestone photos. So I will definitely be sharing those. It also does a great job at me just kind of like bringing more of a personal touch to my content and breaking up a lot of the other types of content that I share quite often. I also have a plan for my stories. My stories have really gotten the better of me this year because stories have always formed part of my strategy, but I would be lying to you if I said that I always stuck to the plans that I make, because I really don't. Honestly, if I'm busy and overwhelmed, my stories are the first thing to go. They are the first thing out the door. And it's so frustrating because I love stories and I really, really value the power of them. But yeah, they're just always the first thing to go. So my plan for the upcoming year will be for me to share a minimum of 3 days worth of stories per week. So I say days worth because I'm not saying upload 3 stories per week. I'm saying on 3 out of the 7 days per week, I will be sharing story content. It will never be on the weekend. That is never going to be me. Remember, that Instagram page is my job. So like, I don't work Saturday and Sunday. So I will never be sharing content on the weekend unless I'm doing something incredible. So Monday through Friday, at least 3 of those days, I want to be sharing story content where I'm documenting my day. And I want the content to be focused on the behind the scenes of running my business and being a full-time content creator, which means I will be sharing things like my daily schedules because I know my audience love those, and it's super difficult for me to do those every single day, but I will try and do those at least 3 times per week. And I'm also going to be ensuring that on those 3 days where I'm sharing story content, I have at least 1 interactive sticker on at least one of those stories. Now, the reason why is because interactive stickers are incredibly powerful, not just because when you use an interactive sticker on your stories, it actually gives the algorithm a way to measure if your stories are successful or not, which means that if people interact with that sticker, more people will see your stories. So not just for that reason, but also because your story stickers allow you to open a dialogue with your audience. You bring your audience into your day and into your story content. And if you don't know what I mean, if I'm saying story stickers and you're like, what is this girl going on about? I'm talking about things like the Q&A box, like the slider thingy, never know a good name for that one, the poll, the quiz feature. Like, those are the stickers that I'm talking about. It's any sticker that you use on your story that triggers some kind of interaction from your audience. So I want to make sure that I'm using those pretty regularly because, again, remember, my objective for next year is to foster a deeper connection with my audience, and those story stickers will allow me to do that. Okay, I feel like I've harped on about my strategy enough. I hope that was really useful, me exposing myself a bit, showing you, what I'm actually planning for the year ahead. If you have a similar objective to me, then feel free to steal that. I mean, I'm never gonna know that you're using my strategy. So no harm, no foul. Don't forget to check out HubSpot's free guide, which includes 20 powerful strategies and tactics for increasing your Instagram engagement via the link below. It's completely free, remember, don't forget to check it out. If you feel like hanging around though, I recommend watching this video. How do I still not know what side to point to? It's been 2 years, like I should know this by now. One of these videos is going to be all about how you can go from 0 to 10,000 followers on Instagram. I really recommend checking it out. I feel like you'd find it really useful. Thank you so much for watching as always. Can't wait to see you in my next video.